Now, the Kremlin has stepped into the row over the arrest of the Russian-born founder of the messaging app Telegram, saying that France should not allow political persecution. Pavel Durov, who is a French citizen, has been placed under formal investigation in France after being detained last weekend. The judge said he was suspected of being complicit in allowing illicit transactions, including images of child sex abuse and drug trafficking on Telegram. I'm joined by Jordan Wilden, who's an expert on Telegram and the CEO of Pros Intelligence, an open source intelligence agency. Can I just initially ask you to explain, for those who might not know, what is Telegram?
Well, thank you for having me. Telegram is a messaging application which is quite similar to WhatsApp in many ways for people who've used WhatsApp. So it's a messaging application that was primarily put together to be as private and secure as possible, or at least give the illusion of being private and secure. So there's the idea that it's encrypted. Parts of it are encrypted. It's not necessarily all encrypted. And that has meant that many people who are dissidents or whistleblowers or have reasons to try and be as secure as possible have ended up using Telegram as their main application for messaging.
And just tell me about the arrest of Pavel Durov. He is the Russian-born founder of the messaging app, but he's now been placed under formal investigation in France. What does that mean, and what is the trigger for this?
Yeah, so it seems that the trigger for this is that there's the idea that we need to have a deeper look into how Telegram is being moderated, at least within the EU. So that's the impression that's being given. Telegram's moderation is very lax. It doesn't really do a lot. It has 3 points in its terms of service, which is basically don't spam or scam people, don't promote violence publicly, and don't promote illegal pornography publicly. So that includes child sexual assault material. That is the only thing that Telegram says it does when it's doing moderation. So the idea seems to be that what France wants to do is to make sure that Telegram is doing a better job of that, and probably the EU more broadly as well.
And can international governments regulate Telegram differently in order to control it more as they would want to?
It's difficult to say. So international governments have the ability to regulate, obviously, within anything that's used on their own turf. So we've looked at this in different ways that Telegram was blocked in Russia. Telegram found ways around being blocked in Russia by just basically having technological, different routes of being able to be accessed. But the application itself makes it quite difficult because of the fact that it's based outside of the US, it's outside of Russia, it's outside of the EU. It has technological routes that make it difficult for people to be able to ban it or block it. So the best route seems to be actually doing regulation, which means that there has to be fines if things aren't being done, if moderation is not being done, and tighter clamps in that kind of route, rather than necessarily just trying to block, because they can work around that.
And in terms of, the types of areas of debate and the messaging that international governments have been most concerned about, do you think ultimately that is controllable? And where are the key concerns right now?
I mean, it's difficult to say. It's a really, really difficult question to answer. It's not something that is necessarily controllable. There will be ways that people will find around it. There will always be another place that somewhere can go to. So there'll be another application that will come up. There'll be another form of messaging. There'll be something else. So that's a really difficult thing to try and get a real grip on. But looking at the way that they've been trying to regulate either the sort of industry more wholly, so with different things like the Online Harms Bill, the Online Harms Act, the DSA, and across Europe, and the way that the US is looking at regulating platforms themselves, that seems to be a good step forward in at least trying to get a handle on what happens online and how we go about making sure that we mitigate the harms there.
Jordan Wilden from Pros Intelligence, thank you very much indeed for being with us.